Hello, so this is our first time opening up Adobe Animate. So Adobe Animate, I've gone through previously in class what Adobe Animate can do and where it's used in industry. We're going to dive in right now. We're going to create our first animation. So first of all, what you need to be aware of is that now we have varying versions of Adobe Animate. It doesn't matter what version of Animate you have. There are slight differences here and there, but I'll spell them out to you as we go. So to create a new file, so our file is going to be set up for being displayed on the TV. So I'm going to click on this one here, Full HD. Okay, and then I want to make sure that everything's all set up properly. So I'm going to go over to Modify, Document, and I'm going to change these settings. So I'll check these settings actually. So this here is 1920 by 1080, and my frame rate should not be 30, it should be 24 frames a second. So double click on it and press and type in 24 and then click on OK. All right, so that now is set up properly. So Adobe Animate is a vector-based program, and what that means is that no matter what size our stage is, so if I press Command minus twice, I can see the full stage. So it's just like acting. What is on the stage is a thing called a mise-en-scene, and all items that appear in this window are seen on the export when you export this out to a TV. Anything out here, you don't see it. Okay, so those things are hidden until they come into the screen, into the mise-en-scene. So other things you need to be aware of. If you don't see a layout like this, you need to go over to Window, go to Workspaces, and click on Essentials. Your screen might flicker a fair bit, but it's eventually going to rest like this. Okay, so if you have used Adobe Illustrator before, you should feel quite at home with this, with some of the basic tools. So your toolbar is over here. This is where you can place items on the stage. So please don't draw anything just yet. I'm just showing you where things are. So this here is your elements. So let's say your elements of design, your elements of art, your some of your codes of and some of your symbology that you can create in here in this tool set. On this side of the screen is the settings for the tools. Okay, so if you want to modify the colors or the settings for the tool, the properties, for example, that's where it's located. Okay. Moving down to the base here, you've got a timeline, and you can have, obviously with animations, you can have different things going on in the timeline. So what I want to do now is we're going to create our first animation. Whoa. Okay, so I'm zoomed out right here. I'm just going to press Command plus once so I can zoom right in a little bit more. I'm just going to reduce this timelines window down a little bit so I can see a little bit more of it. So you can see everything that's going on. Okay, see, if I press the space bar and keep my finger down the space bar and then click and drag, it goes to the hand tool and I can navigate my way around the stage, which is pretty cool. If I flick up or flick down with a scroll wheel or flick side to side on some selected mice, that navigates around as well, just like using the space bar. Okay, so now we're going to do our first animation. So we are going to now draw a circle. So in some versions of Adobe Animate, you already have a circle tool right down here somewhere. But on my version, I need to click once. I'll hold down my button and then go over to the oval tool and then click on the oval tool. And before I start drawing, I need to zero out over here, I need to zero out my colors. So it is white fill and black stroke. I go to my fill color, I change it to whatever color I want. So in this case, I'm going to choose this, this green color here. And then this is the stroke, so this is the outline. I'm going to click on the outline and change this so there's no outline. Click on 0 there, yeah? So it's the white box with the red slash going through it. So now I should be able to draw a green ball. So click, keep your finger down, and then draw out. Press Shift at the same time to lock it in proportion. So you see I'm pressing Shift and it locks it in proportion. So I'm going to draw a circle about that big. Cool. So remember, at any stage you can fast forward and rewind to your heart's content. Okay, so next up, you now need to select this circle. So you need to go over to the select tool. The shortcut for that is V. Click on that V there, and then select that item. So on some selected versions of Adobe Animate, you might have to, you might see just like it's a shaded version of this, right? So that means it looks like it's been selected. On my version, there's a bounding box that becomes visible. Okay, it's muchness. So now, before you animate anything, the normal way, right? So there's different methods in Adobe Animate. I'm just going to show you a basic way of doing this. So what you need to do is you need to right click on the selected item. So if you don't get this right click working, you need to press, on the Mac, you press control click, and that's equivalent of pressing the right hand button mouse to get the context menu up. Okay, so now you need to go down to convert to symbol. And I'm just going to move this to the center. So I'm going to name my symbol ball. And the type of symbol this is going to be, it is going to be a graphic. So as default, it says movie clip, change it to graphic. Registration point, keep it as the top left-hand corner. That's all good. And don't worry about all this advanced stuff at all, okay? So don't worry about that. I'm going to actually just get rid of this. Okay, so it's just that. Okay, so click on OK. So what has happened now is that if you go over to, where are my assets gone? My library's over here. Okay, so this is my library over here, and now we have our graphic element that we can reuse multiple times throughout our animation. It's saved in here, which is pretty cool. So I can drag as many balls as I want out onto the stage. This here is the properties, okay, of the size of this ball. We won't worry about this at this stage in time. Okay, so I've just deselected everything. Now I'll go over to layer 1, and I'm going to double click on layer 1 just in here. I'm going to call this one here ball. Press return or enter on the PC. Next up, we need to go over here to frame 1, and you need to right click or you control click on the Mac, and you create this one here, create classic tween. What's happened now is that you should see a purple line along the timeline. What has happened is that it's added 1 second of time to your animation. So if I press return right now, that is actually going to play the timeline. So I'm going to press return and nothing's happening. Okay, so if you want the ball to move across the other side, what you need to do is you need to create a keyframe at the 24th frame. So you see here at the start, there is a keyframe which is symbolized as being a black filled in dot. I need to create a new one over here. So I click on frame 24 over here, and it's showing that I'm at frame 24 right here. Okay, so if I click on frame 25, right, or 22, 16, whatever, it's going to show that up. So frame 24, and you need to press F6. So if you're on a PC, press F6 as normal. If you're on a laptop style keyboard, you need to press function and then F6. So what has happened now is that we've created a new keyframe at the 24th frame. So it's 24 frames a second. We are at the 1 second mark here. So now I'm going to just click on this ball and move it across. You can press shift to lock it in proportion, to lock it in ratio, so you can't shift out above or below. So I'm just going to move it across there. So, oh, the ball's disappeared, yeah? No, it hasn't. If you press return, congratulations, you have now made a basic classic tween ball bounce. What I want you to do now is I want you to go File, Save As, and I want you to save that and submit that, please. Thank you. Bye.